Welcome to Cardinals Cover 2 with Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki. Cardinals Cover 2 is brought to you by Arizona Cardinals Podcasts. Visit azcardinals.com/podcasts. From the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center, here's Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki.
2 days until game day, 4 days. 4 shopping days left. You all good for next Tuesday, MJ? Christmas Day?
I kind of get lucky. I do more online shopping.
Yes, as we established here, you don't go the day after Thanksgiving. You do everything online. Saves time, saves the headaches, less stressful.
Well, I have family in upstate New York, and then I have another brother in Las Vegas, and obviously I'd rather know what they want versus try to guess. Now, when they were younger, I would surprise them, but now I just do the gift card or find out what they want and then order it, have it delivered.
The Bose QC35s are a nice idea as well, MJ.
I know you've been talking about that. I love these things.
Bose.com for those who need
Bose.com.
some last-minute Christmas ideas here. And programming notes, the next time you'll see us here on Cards Cover 2 next Wednesday. We have Monday off as far as Christmas Eve, but Cards Cover 2 resumes on Wednesday of next week. But this is a Football Friday, and let's take off on this Friday afternoon, tell you what's ahead on this show as we get set for Cardinals and Rams. And it is the 12 plays of Fitzmas. You don't want to miss that. Jared Goff has some advice for Josh Rosen. And speaking of Goff, the Rams' high-powered offense has slowed down as of late. We'll discuss that and break it down. The scouting report, Cardinals and Rams here in Week 16. And, of course, your questions via social media using the hashtag CardsCover2, hashtag CardsCover2, using the number 2 to get involved in the show here this afternoon. But first, the news of the day. And is this the end? That is the question everyone wants to know. Will Sunday be Larry Fitzgerald's final game at State Farm Stadium? Before we discuss, it is a Fitz Friday, hashtag Fitz Friday. Let's hear from number 11. It's his favorite question that he deals with every single week.
Larry, for those of us who didn't text you this week, what are your thoughts about this home game being the last one of the year and just it possibly being your last one?
No thoughts on it, really. Just another game for me. If anything changes, I'll let you guys know, though.
You wouldn't wistfully look out at the field one last time?
No.
Didn't Kurt do like a victory lap just in case?
Yeah, it was slow, too, I remember. We had to hold up for a long time before he broke it down in the locker room because he was moving real slow. It was just really slow victory lap.
Larry, whenever it comes time to hang it up, what are you going to most remember about playing in Arizona as a Cardinal?
I'll have a lot of fond memories. The relationships that I built with the guys in the organization, the Steve Ryans and the Mark Daltons and, the Mark Allmeyer. The guys that I've been with since day one kind of grew together. And, those relationships you'll miss. Football plays, they'll start to run together and those things, but, the camaraderie you share with your teammates, I think, is something that you always will remember.
Have you talked about an extension for next year?
With who?
The Cardinals?
No, have not. No.
Do you plan on doing that?
As a player, only Patrick can talk to him about an extension. The rest of us,
Only on Tuesdays.
the rest of us have
Your
to.
extension or his extension?
No. I said there's only a few guys that have the ability to be proactive about getting this, that stuff. I'm not in that boat.
Is this going to be like a decision from Uganda or something?
Bob, if I decide to retire, I'll let you guys know, man. Seriously. So I don't understand why we keep asking these questions. You know me. I've been answering for the last 3 years. And nothing's going to change. I'm never going to tell you, hey, this is going to be my last day. I'm excited. Honor me. That's never going. Those words would never come out of my mouth ever. For all of us, it means a lot. To have the fans still come out. The season hasn't been what it's, what we had hoped. But there's been some stadiums we've been to. Last week in Atlanta, it was real quiet. A couple weeks before that in LA, Stubhub Stadium was pretty quiet. But our stadium, the fans still turn out for us and support us, and we don't take that for granted. We're extremely appreciative, especially during the holiday seasons. It's great to be able to have that support.
The one thing in 15 years of covering Larry Fitzgerald, the one area that he has improved the most is dealing with the media from his rookie year to now, because try as we do now for the past couple weeks, trying to figure out, is this it? Is this going to be his final season? Will this Sunday be his final home game? He just stands there, or in this case sits in front of his locker, smiles, and doesn't say anything, gives us everyone sound bites, and has some snacks along the way. But he was not going to tip his hand one way or the other. I don't even know if he knows at this point. But for those that are wondering and certainly curious, as everyone is, show up on Sunday. That's all I can say, because you don't know, you never know, and you don't want to look back on it and say, "Oh, I should have been at that ball game."
Now, those were furrows and grapes.
Yes.
They've been eating those things since training camp. And according to players, they're delicious.
I have not had one.
Well, if you go over to the hotel for breakfast, maybe you can try that during training camp next year. All right. I said before, what else does Larry Fitzgerald have to accomplish in his career? Now,
individually, nothing.
True, but if he wants to get number 2 in receptions, he's going to have to play another year. Not have to, but choose to play another year. And then you start looking at it from that standpoint. I still think he could be productive. Does he get the separation he had in the past? No, but I think he's just so great for this franchise. And I wouldn't rule it out that he plays next year. I know we've done this for 3 years now. Larry's going to do exactly what he's done the last 3 years. He's not under contract. He'll take some time off.
And that's the one difference, though, and I don't know if it's a key difference, but it is the one difference, because in years past, he's always had that contract. He's either signed an extension or signed a one-year deal to where that wasn't lingering, and that's, I don't know if it's why the questions have come more now this season, because he's...
I think it's the age and possibly the losing. I mean, you're thinking, all right, now Larry's only going to wear one uniform, so I wouldn't rule it out that he plays next year, and hopefully this team is a lot better when they get a chance to get to the postseason. But obviously, it's going to be a busy offseason. But I still think he enjoys being in the locker room. You've watched him for the last 15 years. The way he interacts with his teammates, he's great for that wide receiver room. Okay, you're probably going to draft a wide receiver. You got a young Christian Kirk, a young Trent Sherfield, Jalen Tolliver. We'll see if Cooper is part of the equation. They're going to draft a wide receiver. And he means so much to the fan base, but he's got to do what's best for him. He loves playing on Sundays. I mean, he loves playing on Sundays, and he doesn't mind, the grind from Wednesday to Saturday, but he really doesn't like the off-season stuff.
Correct.
So we're curious to see how it works out. He'll deal with Mr. Bidwell. They've always dealt one-to-one. Larry lost his agent a few years ago in Eugene Parker, so he doesn't have an agent. He deals strictly with Michael. He told me the last time he went to his house, they had the deal done in 5 minutes, and I said, "Did you stick around for dinner?" He said, "Yes." So Michael Bidwell and Steve Keim, he doesn't have an agent, so again, I wouldn't rule it out. You don't know what he's going to think about in January, but I still think he has something left, and I don't think he wants to end his career like it happened this year.
I don't think there's a question that he has more football left in him, and maybe it's just me being the optimistic one, but everyone wants to see him come back, and I just have a feeling without knowing anything that I think, if you ask me now to put odds on it, I think the odds are that he does return. Now, something could change, but at least for right now, we don't know, and that's why Sunday is such a big deal. And by the way, another mark in Larry Fitzgerald's career that could happen on Sunday right now, 592 career catches at State Farm Stadium. Only Jerry Rice has hit the 600 catch mark in a single stadium. Rice had 646 at Candlestick Park, so it fits for, I don't know, he hasn't had 8 catches this season, I don't believe.
He's had one against the San Francisco 49ers, 8 catches, 102 yards. Week 1, he had 7 catches. Last week, he had 7 catches.
So there is a possibility of that mark as well, and joining some more exclusive company that he already holds for what he's done so far.
And he played 2 years in Sun Devil Stadium.
That's right.
He would have already passed Jerry Rice.
I forgot about that.
If he gets the 8 on Sunday, that'll get him to 600. He'll need 45 next year. So that's another area where he can top Jerry Rice. playing in the same stadium over a period of time. But don't forget, he played 2 years at Sun Devil Stadium.
This Sunday, 2:05 is the kickoff. Cardinals and Rams, 9:30 a.m. The pregame coverage begins on the Arizona Cardinals radio network. And if you need to know where to watch, listen, and follow the game, just go to azcardinals/Game Central. So we've all heard about the 12 days of Christmas. Well, how about the 12 plays of Fitzmas? Check this out.
He's got Fitzgerald.
First of many catches we've seen.
The leaping catch at the 45-yard line of the Cardinals.
On the 11th play of Fitzmas, the Cardinals came to me.
Did he catch it?
He's taken us on third down and 23.
The Hall of Famer may have just saved the day for the Cardinals.
On the 10th play of Fitzmas, the Cardinals came to me. This one will go down in history.
Career touchdown number 100.
On the 9th play of Fitzmas, the Cardinals came to me. And 80-yarder he made look easy.
The old man can still run. 80-yard touchdown.
On the 8th play of Fitzmas, the Cardinals came to me. A game winner late in OT.
Fitz goes up and makes the game-winning catch. Larry Legend does it again.
On the 7th play of Fitzmas, the Cardinals came to me.
Going for Fitz. He's in double coverage.
An acrobatic play of TD.
You can't stop that guy.
On the 6th play of Fitzmas, the Cardinals came to me. A Hail Mary over 40 me.
And it's caught. Larry Fitzgerald, touchdown.
On the 5th play of Fitzmas, the Cardinals came to me. This Lord will break the chain.
Touchdown. How did Larry Fitzgerald catch that football?
On the 4th play of Fitzmas, the Cardinals came to me. A piercing upset clinching tree.
Larry Fitzgerald. Do you believe it?
On the 3rd play of Fitzmas, the Cardinals came to me.
Fitz is in. Touchdown, Cardinals. Larry Fitzgerald. He got it. His third of the day.
3 touchdowns rolling down confetti.
We won the NFC and reached the Super Bowl.
His name was 43. On the 2nd play of Fitzmas, the Cardinals came to me.
In the end zone, the shovel pass for the touchdown of the win.
Shovel pass, the first Hail Larry.
Larry Fitzgerald inside the 30, the 20.
If he
Larry
scores, it's
Fitzgerald
over.
It's insane.
On the first play of Fitzmas, the Cardinals came to me.
Fires over the middle of Fitz, caught at the 45-50.
This one was just a bit too early.
Fitz is loose 40, 30, goodbye, 10-5, touchdown, Larry Fitzgerald. And the Cardinals lead Super Bowl 43 with 2:37 to go.
Cardinal fans, we have a lot to be thankful for. Happy holidays to your family from ours.
Tremendous job right there. The Phoenix Boys Choir and Larry Fitzgerald, the 12 days of Fitzmas. Great job of the Arizona Cardinals broadcasting department and specifically Tim Delaney. Been working hard on that, but
what a great
job
idea
by the Phoenix Boys Choir. It was awesome and just kind of a walk down memory lane to some of the best plays for Larry Fitzgerald, and I still get chills on that Super Bowl touchdown with, as Dave Patch said, 237 for 3 letters that will, or numbers I should say, that will live forever in Cardinals fans' history.
Yeah, I mean, he just thought they're going to win the Super Bowl. It's finally going to happen.
Yeah,
and we'll let the rest, we'll leave that for somebody else to talk about now.
12 plays. If there's a 16th season, then we got to do this again and do like the 13 or 14 plays of Fitzmas.
All right. Well, what was your favorite one?
The best line for me was the 5th play. This dive helped grate the cheese against the Packers. It's clever writing. It's a good job. I enjoyed it.
I liked. To me, it was probably the Eagles game, number 3.
3 touchdowns.
Yeah, because that put him in the Super Bowl. And
the confetti, yeah.
And Mr. B's out there holding the NFC Championship trophy next to B Train. I mean, grown men are crying in the stands. I understand the Super Bowl and the significance of it. If they would have won it, clearly you can't top that. But to me, what he did in that playoff, the entire playoffs, Falcons,
the entire run, yeah,
that was his coming out party, and that's when he became a household name nationally.
azcardinals.com if you want to revisit that piece. Again, a wonderful idea and a great job, and thanks to the Phoenix Boys Choir as well for helping out. And maybe next year, maybe we can get Larry Fitzgerald to sing with the kids.
I think he's gone down there and assisted, but I don't ever think he's sung with the kids.
Bucket list, see? He hasn't accomplished everything in his career yet.
That's true.
We just found something. He can't retire yet. There we go. As we broadcast here on a Football Friday from the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center, and, of course, doing so in our Bose QC35s, Cardinals and Rams coming up this Sunday, 2:05 at State Farm Stadium. And before we get real heavy into the matchup, I'm not sure if you saw this on azcardinals.com, but Jared Goff. And we've talked about, the jump from year 1 to year 2 in these young quarterbacks making that progression, and one of the examples is Goff. And in speaking with the Rams media this week, Goff was asked what advice he'd give to Josh Rosen. And his quote was, "Every experience, positive, negative, and in between, will be valuable for you in the future." That's something that I tried to take away when I was going through a similar situation, and just understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, unquote. Kyle Odegaard wrote it on azcardinals.com, and Goff is the perfect one to talk about this, and it's the perfect line as well, because he went through the exact experience. And when you talk about what he said, the positive, negative, in between, that's why Josh Rosen is playing these final games regardless of opponent and regardless of how many times he gets hit. He needs to be on these fields in order to get that positive, even if it is in a negative light because he's getting hit or having mistakes.
Goff, I mean, I know Jeff Fisher gets a lot of blame for not having the great offense there, and then you bring in Sean McVay. But Fisher's about, drafting Todd Gurley, and people say you don't draft running backs in the first round. So you're telling me you wouldn't draft Todd Gurley or Zeke Elliott? Leonard Fournette's been hurt. So he also drafted Aaron Donald. You throw in there Jared Goff, and he didn't play him. Don't forget, Case Keenum got off to a 3-1 start. They beat the Cardinals. Then they lose 11 of their last 12. So Goff gets in there, and he gives them for the second half of the season, and he looked lost. At least Rosen, we're seeing some progress. Now, their circumstances dictated. This is a prime example. And the fact is, look what happened when he's been in the system the second year. They have improved the line. One of the best free agent signings last year was Andrew Whitworth. That offensive line is really good. They got Gurley, and now you got Goff. He's got some weapons on the outside. He's got a really good play caller. So he's in a really good situation. But he's a prime example of how he looked his rookie year. And I think Rosen's further ahead of him because he's playing earlier, a lot earlier than Jared Goff played.
And mentally, I think Rosen is ahead of the game just based off his football IQ and what he's looking at, and already some of the decisions he's made. So, again, a great piece on azcardinals.com about Jared Goff offering advice to Josh Rosen here in Rosen's rookie season.
Yeah, and we've talked about it at length, and it's something we're going to continue to talk about. You look at some of these second-year quarterbacks. I mean, Trubisky, Mahomes. You throw in Deshaun Watson. I mean, there's like 4 guys that are out there. And, in the third-year guys, you look at Dak Prescott, how he's taken a step now that he's got a number 1 wide receiver. You look at Carson Wentz, if he could stay healthy. You throw in who's the third-year guy? There's another one out there. But anyways, you could see the progress, and this is really impressive for the league. I think the league is set up with this year's class and the last 4 draft classes. The future is set up at the quarterback position because I think you're starting to see more athletic and spread quarterbacks. They're doing it in high school and college. It took it a little bit of a while because teams prefer that pocket passer. But I think the NFL is set up good right now when it comes to young quarterbacks that have been drafted in the last 3 or 4 years.
And you'll see a couple of good young quarterbacks on Sunday here in Week 16. Let's take a look at the injury report and let you know if anyone is completely out of this ball game, and there are not, at least for the Arizona Cardinals. 7 players, though, listed as questionable. Marcus Golden might be the biggest question mark. Did not practice all week with an ankle injury. Got rolled up on last week, a week ago on the sack. So that's one that might be kind of iffy. I know Patrick Peterson did not practice on Friday, wasn't even in the facility because he's sick, but there's no doubt in my mind that 21 will be on the field and maintain that consecutive game streak. It's up to 126. He will play on Sunday. The question is, though, will we see Farrell Cooper, the brand new addition to this Arizona Cardinals team, claimed off waivers after he was released by the Rams, his practice for a couple of days. He certainly is excited about this opportunity because he wants to be a wide receiver. And according to head coach Steve Wilkes, there's a possibility he's active on Sunday. Might be a numbers game, but I think they really want to see what he can do, maybe not from a wide receiver standpoint just yet, but at least in the return game, whether that's kickoff or punt or both.
Yeah, and that's what he specializes in. Now, obviously, when you're a guy that plays on teams, you want to get a bigger role on offense. And obviously a numbers game there. They had to make a roster move. They bring in C.J. Anderson. We could see him on Sunday depending on the availability of Gurley. So this is an opportunity for him to come in here, show what he's worth on special teams, because we know that, if you're a good kick returner, I do think Kirk could win that job again next year. We'll have to wait and see. And then if he can be your 4th or 5th receiver, now all of a sudden, you're looking at a guy, and we got to see how he runs his routes and how he catches the football. But he's excited. I mean, obviously disappointed that he's leaving the Rams, but he's really excited about the opportunity. He's just not a specialist here. He may be a specialist for the next 2 weeks, but they're looking at him as more as a combo player, more wide receiver, and then special teams player. So I'm curious to see how he looks. I got to anticipate he's probably not going to get a ton of snaps on offense just because it's a playbook. You got to learn all 3 positions. Now, they may put a package in for him, but I do think he's going to get every opportunity when it comes to returning.
Yeah, he told the media this week he's just looking for a chance to be able to showcase his wide receiver skills. Now, you look at this Rams team, and I really don't think that they anticipated this Sunday's game, considering how they started this season, to mean anything to them. Maybe guys wouldn't have to play or not play as much, but because they've lost back-to-back games for the first time this season and for the first time under head coach Sean McVay, they're a 2 seed instead of a 1 seed, and that 2 seed is not very secure. They're only a game up on the Bears. San Francisco, or the Bears are in San Francisco this week. So if you're the Rams, you can't afford to slip up because that 2 seed is huge. You get that first round bye. You get a home playoff game as well, and then if something should happen to the 1 seed in New Orleans, and then you're hosting throughout. So they need this ball game. So it's critical that the Rams come in here and try to get back on track because they've slipped up in the last couple of weeks.
Well, more importantly, you get some rest for Todd Gurley.
Yes.
Now, if they clinch a 2 seed, curious to see what they do next week against the Niners. So you can rest players. Todd Gurley's got inflammation on his knee. He didn't practice all week. So, and C.J. Anderson, the backup running back, Brown, he's on IR. The backup running back got hurt, a shoulder injury. So I think Gurley could start the game. I just don't know how long he's going to play because you got to make sure because that offense goes because of Todd Gurley. We could talk about McVay's play calling. It's because they can run the ball. You want to stack a guy in the box. They can throw it. Their offensive line gets pushed at the point of attack. So, to me, we can give Jared Goff a lot of credit, and we should. But it really is the offensive line and Gurley. Now, how many touchdowns does Gurley have?
21.
21 touchdowns.
I got that stat for a little bit later
we'll
on
save
in the show.
It's amazing.
It's kind of very eye-opening. You want to stick to him. But, 21. Keep that number in the back
21.
of your mind. 21. And if you want to Google, Never mind. We'll
No,
get
we'll
to that.
fill you in.
The Rams, even though they're limping into town a little bit, still plenty to play for, and head coach Steve Wilks knows that the Rams still very dangerous.
Those guys are going to come in here and play hard regardless. They got a lot to play for at this particular time. Disappointing loss for them, I'm sure, and they're going to be up to the challenge or up to the game, coming in here trying to make a point. Nobody gave us a chance against Green Bay. You know, nobody's giving us a chance this week. And I just mentioned that, you know, we're not going to listen to the outside noise. I believe in every man in that meeting room, players and coaches, and we're going to find a way to try to get it done this week.
You never know. That is exactly why they play the game on Sundays. Cardinals not expected to win in Green Bay. Cardinals not expected to win this Sunday against the Rams. By the way, Sean McVay, Rams head coach, 3-0 all-time against the Cardinals. They have never trailed against the Cardinals in those 3 previous meetings. Of course, 2 of those meetings are shutouts, but just the numbers that the Rams offense, defense, and special teams, just what they've done over these last 2 years is remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the London game, and then you go back to week 2 in Los Angeles, and obviously the Cardinals had Mike McCoy as the coordinator and Sam Bradford as the quarterback, so a little bit different situation here with Byron Leftwich and a rookie quarterback in Josh Rosen. Yeah, I mean, this is a team you're going to have to deal with for the next few years. And we talk about the Seahawks as long as they got Carroll and Wilson, and you got to think the Niners, if they get some talent and a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo, this is going to be a tough division, but it tells me in the future it's going to be about offense. Look at the quarterbacks in the division. Russell Wilson's 30. You throw in Garoppolo about 26, 27. You look at Jared Goff, he's probably 23, and Josh Rosen's 21. When Harbaugh was in this division, and you start looking at Jeff Fisher in this division, it was all about defense. It's now become offense. You still have to have a good defense, but offense scores points. Defense, they say, wins championships.
Yeah, and the Rams do have a good defense, at least name-wise. And, of course, the biggest name is Aaron Donald. I'll make a case that not only is he the best player on their team, but maybe the best player in the entire NFL and what he's done from a defensive tackle standpoint. 16.5 sacks, 40 tackles for loss. Those marks are both tops in the NFL, although back in week 2, Cardinals held him to just 4 tackles, only one of them solo, and no sacks. And I know you had a chance to talk with Mason Cole. This offensive line with those 3 rookies, they're looking forward to going up against an Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh, Michael Brockers, those guys, but especially Donald, because inside that's going to be Cole. It's going to be Gossett. Those they face a huge test ahead of them on Sunday.
Yeah, and you look at it, and Mason Cole said the reason why he's looking forward to it is because he went against him in week 2, and he started from day 1. He's played every single snap this year, and he didn't know what to expect. He hears all the hype. And as Craig pointed out, he didn't get a sack in that game. So he's looking forward to see what kind of progress he's made. Now, we all know that the Cardinals want him to play center in the future, so they're going to keep him there. And he's a guy that's going to spend a lot of time in the offseason here. He's going on a trip to Jamaica, and then he's going to get back here, and he's going to get in the weight room because they want him to get stronger. But he's looking forward just to see where he stands from week 2 until week 16. How much progress is he in? What does he recognize? Can he figure out some of the different techniques that these guys use? Because he's going against a lot of good defensive tackles in the National Football League.
Aaron Donald named to his 5th Pro Bowl this past week. Corey Littleton, the Rams linebacker, named to his 1st Pro Bowl, leads the Rams in tackles and passes defense. He's one of those guys that you look at the roster and you're like, who's this guy? He doesn't quite fit the names, with a Marcus Peters or Aqib Talib. But Corey Littleton, basically the quarterback of that defense.
He's a tackling machine, and to me, he reminds me of James Laurinaitis. When Laurinaitis was there,
Good comparison.
He was a tackling machine, and Zach Thomas type. That's the reason, because they let Robert Quinn go, okay, and he was a pass rusher, and then they let Alec Ogletree go for a 2nd-round pick, and he's come over. He's got 111 tackles this year. He's a tackling machine. So, to me, when you look at his tackles, it all starts up front. They get so much pressure, and he just comes in and cleans up. So you make sure you got to if you can get to the 2nd layer, make sure you put a hat on him, because this guy's a really good player, and he's benefiting from the defensive line.
Of course, it all starts, though, with Donald. Here's head coach Steve Wilks on the Rams defense.
Well, I think, again, Wade Phillips is very aggressive in what he does. Very seldom does they just rush 4 guys. He's always pushing 5, and that's really his base. So we just got to be ready. Great communication up front, starting with Mason, and those guys really trying to filter that out to the tackles as well as the tight ends on how we're picking things up.
All right, now let's take a look at this Rams offense. As we mentioned, they've been limping a little bit. They're not scoring that 35 points that they had in the first 12 games of the season. The last 2, 6 to the Bears, 23 to the Eagles, both losses. And the real reason is the turnovers. They've committed 7 in the past 2 weeks, but Jared Goff has been picked off 6 times. And that's not concerning, but that's a little eye-opening considering how well-oiled a machine this was. They were just rolling along, Goff, Gurley, Cooks, and now all of a sudden people in Los Angeles, and what you read this week is like, what's going on? And there's one name that keeps popping up as far as a reason, and it's the loss of Cooper Kupp.
I don't disagree. And actually, I talked to Cooper about it in the locker room today, and he said they love Cooper Kupp there, and he said their offense does miss him. The thing is, though, I don't know if we're giving enough credit to who they played. They played the Bears.
True. In
cold weather. And according to some of the cold weather games, he doesn't play particularly well in cold weather. Maybe he has small hands. And they played against the Eagles, and Fletcher Cox, they couldn't.
But that one was at home, though. And that was the eye-opener.
They don't have a home field advantage.
I know, but you're at home coming off a
Eagles
loss
are
on the
fighting
road.
for their lives.
Yeah, I get it. But when you're at home and you're the Rams, they were double-digit favorites?
Yeah, so
that was eye-opening.
The Bears game, he threw 4 picks. He threw 4 and 2 and then 1. So he's got 1 touchdown in the last 3 games, 7 interceptions.
Correct. Yeah, his completion percentage has dropped. His touchdown to interception ratio has dropped since Cooper Kupp went on IR because of a knee issue. So, but again, you still have a Brandon Cooks, or a Robert Woods, so he does have weapons. And of course, you do have Todd Gurley. Although the question is, one, his availability. Did not practice all week. He's got knee inflammation. Sean McVay earlier today saying he'll go through warm-ups, see how he feels, wakes up on Sunday, and whether he's able to go. If he can't, okay, your backup. Well, Justin Davis has a shoulder injury. He didn't practice all week, listed as questionable. All right, now what do you do? Well, they signed C.J. Anderson off the street this week, veteran running back, tons of experience and a great resume. So you might see, you're not gonna, if you don't have a healthy Gurley or Davis, Anderson's not a bad third option. And yeah, you've only practiced for a couple of days and learning the playbook. It might be something where all of a sudden the Rams become one-dimensional even before the game begins.
Yeah, and listen, don't take it for granted if they don't have Gurley. Now, clearly he's one of the best players, should be up for Offensive Player of the Year, but they have a really good offensive line, and we've watched backup running backs Mike Davis and Matt Breida this year run against the Cardinals, so it doesn't really matter because of their line, but Gurley is a difference maker. He's a playmaker. He gets in the open field. He'll try to run through. He's got thick legs. Just watch his explosion when he gets to the second level. The thing is, though, C.J. Anderson, I got to think they're going to put in about 5 to 7 running plays. Okay, 5 to 7 running plays. I don't think he's going to go off for a pass, maybe in the screen game. So they may have to throw the ball a little bit here, but I'd guess Gurley starts, but does he finish? In other words, what's the score at halftime? Are we going to see the same thing that we got last week in Julio Jones? And Atlanta wasn't playing for anything besides pride. They shut Julio Jones down last week, so I'd be curious if he plays. If they were already a 2 seed, they would keep him out. But again, Anderson just got there. I know he's played a little bit this year. He was in Carolina. But is he in football shape? He's coming off the street. He's not coming off a practice squad, or at least was cut last week. So there's some variables, but I would think they would have 5 to 7, 8 plays for him when it comes to the run game.
Gurley has how many touchdowns?
You said 21.
How many touchdowns do the Cardinals have as a team? The answer is 22.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody reminded Steve Wilkes that.
Yes,
this week.
Gurley has as many touchdowns, nearly as many touchdowns as the Cardinals do this season. Gurley had 3 back in the first meeting in Week 2. Here is the head coach, Steve Wilkes, on that Cardinals running back.
We're going to have our hands full just trying to stop him. I know right now he's a little nicked up, and we'll see whether or not he's going to be able to perform and play. But this guy's just so dynamic. He sort of puts you in the mindset of David. He can do so much from the backfield as well as out at the receiver position.
And I thought they did a good job bottling him up between the 20s. Now he's going to get a 15-yard run. He's just because of their offense. You're playing chess. Are they going to put rush 4 and drop 7 into coverage because they're so worried about the deep ball? But I want to say at least 2, if not all 3 of those touchdowns came on the goal line.
They did, because he was held to 42 rushing yards. Yep. As a team, the Rams only had 90 in that first game, and that remains a season low by this Cardinals defense. Now, what we've seen from this Cardinals defense in previous weeks has been embarrassing. Last week was 215 against the Falcons, and they were the league's worst rushing offense. So now you have a bad rush defense and a banged-up rush offense, but you talked about the offensive line. Now, maybe it doesn't matter who's running the football because, I mean, if you're the Rams, that's how you got to be looking at this. It doesn't matter because we've seen that whomever the Cardinals face, you're getting 140, 150 yards on the ground, and maybe that's the case this week.
I think there's a drop-off. We're talking about an all-pro player, though, in Gurley. But, again, it's the protection up front. It's the play calling of McVay.
Tevin Coleman, Devontae Freeman on IR last. I mean, it's
no, I understand, but I'm just saying, C.J.
from
Anderson,
the Rams' perspective,
yes.
I'm looking at this.
Okay, but I'm just saying I'm not going to put C.J. Anderson and Gurley's.
Okay, fair enough.
But I know what you're saying because I do think you can put somebody else back there and they may get 60 to 70 or 80 yards because the play calling, the tempo, and the offensive line.
Well, certainly the defense, the Cardinals' defense, they're upset and they don't want a repeat of what happened a week ago in Atlanta. And when you're talking about rush defense, the one guy that has been steady all season long, defensive captain Corey Peters.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Missed assignment here, missed assignment there, missed tackle here, missed tackle there. You know, it's really on all 11 of us. Everybody had a hand in it, even the coaching staff. So, you know, we back to the drawing board. We addressed it Monday, been very honest about it. So hopefully it'll be better this week.
How tough was that film session to watch for you guys?
I mean, I think for me, you know, it's always really tough, especially when the team is running through the defense. You know, that's one of the stats that I actually care about is rush defense. So it's been a tough game, but, you know, we addressed it. Like I said, everybody took responsibility for their part in it and, you know, moved on. When things get tough, you know, I feel like a lot of people, myself included, get to looking around and kind of see, you know, because in this game, the last thing I want to do is lose the respect of my peers because I quit on them or I gave up on them. So, you know, when things get tough, you know, that's really time to put the foot on the gas.
Can always count on Corey Peters to give it to you straight. 6 times this defense has allowed 150 or more yards rushing a game, but there was Corey Peters earlier this week standing in front of his locker answering all the tough questions. Al Holcomb did it as well this week, answering the same questions that we keep asking because the problems keep popping up.
Yeah, and I'm told that meeting, everyone voiced a lot of their opinions, so not so much calling people out, but, hey, do your job, okay? You got one job. Do your job. Stay in your gap. Communicate in the secondary. And he also mentioned coaching. I mean, sometimes we talk about execution and scheme and everything else. Well, they got to be put in position to make plays. And again, there's enough blame to go around, but the fact is that they got together and said, all right, yeah, we got 2 games left. Let's not get embarrassed anymore. And so there were guys that spoke their mind, I was told, but at the same time, they're not pointing fingers. They just want to get on the same page.
Cardinals and Rams, 2:05 kickoff from State Farm Stadium. And whether you're at the game, connected to stadium Wi-Fi on your phone, or watching the game at home from your couch, be sure to check out azcardinals.com/GameCentral. You can follow the official game blog with live play-by-play updates, commentary from your favorite Cardinals insiders, also stats, video highlights, and all the pregame, postgame content related to the matchup against the Rams. Again, that's azcardinals.com/GameCentral. As we broadcast here from the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center, and of course doing so in our Bose QC35s. Before we get to the Bird Gang sound-off, how about we flash back? We open up the Big Red Vaults, and this week we look back at Week 14, 2008, against the Rams.
Shotgun for Bulger, flanked to his right by Jackson. Bulger, three-step drop pumps, fires, left side, picked off! Rogers Cromartie at the 5, far side 10, 20, 30, 40, 50! Rogers Cromartie might go! 40, 30, NFC West champs! Here they come! Touchdown, DRC!
And DRC can take off the hood and drop the sickle. This one's over. You're the NFC West champions. How good does that feel?
34-10, the final. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie led the team that season with 4 picks, including that tying franchise record for longest interception return, 99 yards for the score. As we continue here, Brandon Natus, Cardinals manager, social media, joining us here on this Football Friday. But flashing back to 2008, a lot of fun, and I'll never forget that day.
Man, he's quick.
Yes.
He is fast. Now, he's thin, but he's fast, and I wish he would have been more of a tackler, but, when you're that fast, you don't need to tackle. Anytime he got the ball in his hands, he had the ability to take it back for a pick six.
Time for the Bird Gang to sound off. Brandon, what you got for us? You missed the memo. You're wearing, for those listening to the podcast, Brandon Natus wearing his white Cardinals golf shirt, while MJ and myself in Cardinals red.
Well, guys, I'm just trying not to blend in with the wall here. We got the jersey stuff. I do have 2 bits of somewhat breaking news here.
Okay. Whoa, hold on. Let me. All right,
I'm ready. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. None of which really have too much of a no roster news or anything like that.
Oh well,
the first is there will be an addition, and that's David Johnson had already announced that his wife was expecting a baby. Just tweeted out that they're having a girl. So congratulations. David, Megan, and their and DJ. And the second bit of news: the roof will be open.
The roof will be open.
The 2 biggest questions every week.
Yeah.
Will the roof be open? What color uniform is it?
And since we're on that topic, for those that might have missed it earlier in the day, it was tweeted out, but the Cardinals are wearing
red on red for the holidays.
Hey, look at this. Who's wearing red today?
I am.
I missed the memo.
Not.
This wasn't wrinkled.
Well, it's right in time for Christmas.
So we'll get to your questions.
Okay.
So first one, loyal follower asked a question every single show. We appreciate it. Our friend Cardinals31.
How come Cardinals31 didn't break the gender of David Johnson's baby? I mean, we established that it was
privy to that
the burner account, right? I mean, it's
that's right.
Oh, yeah, but that's not where the Amplify money and all that stuff comes from. The big stuff's got to go there. That's just where he does other stuff. How can the Cardinals neutralize Aaron Donald this game? Obviously, very disruptive, up for Defensive Player of the Year, surely. But we'll just say one thing that they need to do from each of you guys.
Well, you're going to have to double team him. I thought the Eagles did a phenomenal job against him. And it's one thing to take him away. You also have to worry about everyone else. But if you can start with him, you're not going to stop him. What happened last week, I think, is an anomaly. But you just have to make sure he's not as disruptive as we've seen, because he can get on a roll and all of a sudden it's just basically almost looks like 11-on-1.
Yeah, the only problem with Dublin is that opens Sue, and Sue has really done nothing this year. I mean, I know that he's playing next to him, so maybe he's drawing some of the double teams and Donald's drawing them, so they're fit, maybe switching up. I think they stun a lot where, they'll cross each other, just get matchups, but I think you got to double, and in this case, you may have to use Derek Coleman a little bit more. So you can protect Rosen. Maybe we'll see the tight end try to come down and block a little bit. So you definitely have to ID him. But the thing is, you got Michael Brockers. We talked about Littleton. He's got 111 tackles this year. They'll blitz off the edge with Joyner. And then you look at their 2 corners. They're going to play press coverage at the line of scrimmage. So they may have to go to 6 or 7 man protection and just hope they can hold up and give Josh some time to throw.
And I'll say this: don't be in awe. You can respect him, but don't be afraid, because now all of a sudden you're already on your heels. And of course that's easy for me to say. It doesn't have to face him, but you don't want to go in all of a sudden being afraid. It's like that Mike Tyson. You were beaten before you even stepped into the ring.
Well, I think, and again, he's got a tough matchup, but the fact that Cole has played every single snap and he went against him in week 2, again, it's going to be a tough matchup for any center. I mean, Jason Kelsey did a really good job on him. He's a good center. He's been in the league a long time for the Eagles. So from that standpoint, at least Cole has an idea. Again, he's going to have to match his intensity. He's going to get beat. Donald's the best player in the NFL, so I just think you got to double him, but you may have to get some help when it comes to protection. You got to protect the edges, because if they're able to hold him up, they'll start blitzing off the side.
And Craig, to your point, actually, DJ Humphries not playing in this game, but he did say yesterday on Big Red Rage, hey, he just puts his pants on just like everyone else, so he's a regular guy. Do you think that they'll maybe hit some more quick passes on Sunday? Do you think that could be one potential strategy for the team? Is that something you guys will look to do?
Sure. I mean, I would love to see Chase Edmonds and David Johnson in the game together. And I'm using Edmonds as my running back, and because they don't have Christian Kirk, so the targets and touches are going down. Nothing against Sherfield, Cooper, or Tolliver, or Ricky Seals-Jones. David Johnson is behind Larry Fitzgerald, is the best passing player on this team now. So I'd put that wheelhouse route he threw last week, that was unbelievable. I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to get David on matchup. I talked to David today, and he goes, I love that matchup. I think it was a linebacker or a safety. And that's a one-on-one matchup that David could win. So I like to see them both in the backfield, use David more as a receiver.
Do you know who else will love to see those throws? The fantasy owners with the championships this week. We'll get over to Instagram, though. You mentioned Mr. Fitzgerald. From each of you, what percentage do you put on him coming back next year?
65. For me, it's a little bit better than 50-50, but yeah, I'll go 65. I don't know why that number popped in. How about 81 in honor of Anquan Boldin? I don't know. I'm just throwing out numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to put a number on it. I do think I wouldn't rule it out that he plays next year.
And final question for you. We'll switch over to the defensive side of the ball here. Brandon Williams got a good amount of snaps last week with David Amerson out. Coach complimented the way that he played. Obviously, Amerson seemingly has been cleared. Do you still think Brandon sees an increased role this week?
If Amerson is cleared and Patrick Peterson's healthy, no.
I agree, but maybe if you need a third corner, normally they bring in an extras. I would take him over Rudy Ford, because Rudy Ford struggled as a safety. But yeah, I mean, to me, if something happens to Amerson or you need to get another corner, he would be the next man up. He showed me something last week. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to do that for 2 years. But given the opportunity, again, he's very athletic. He's got long arms. That was a great pass breakup that he had, and he's a really good gunner on special teams. So I think if they had to use another corner, he would be up next.
All right, that's all I got for you today, fellas.
Appreciate it, Brandon. And again, for those that might have missed the announcement, red on red, because that's what Mike Jurecki has been asking for the past month, correct? That's the reason?
That is actually the reason why when I went down there and said, hey, this is the uniforms we're in this week, and I told the equipment staff and Michael Bidwell and our executives said, hey, we're wearing this week because Mike Jurecki requested, oh, and by the way, the roof's going to be open. And I'm also going to determine, that David Johnson's
there we go.
Yes. I determine all of these things.
So for those heading to Sunday's game plan, accordingly, the roof will be open and the Cardinals going with red on red. We appreciate the Bird Gang sounding off here on this Football Friday. Again, we do it at the end of every show. #CardsCover2, #CardsCover2. No show on Monday, however. We'll rejoin you on Wednesday, the day after Christmas, after MJ gives me the Bose QC35s that I've been asking for.
It's in the mail, Craig. It's in the mail.
Special thanks behind the scenes to Dim Delaney, Jim Omohundro, Devin Henry, Jeremy Schnell, everyone here. We wish everyone a happy holiday. For Brandon Natus, Mike Jurecki, I'm Craig Riolu, and as we leave you here on this Friday, we get you hyped for Week 16, Cardinals and Rams from State Farm Stadium.
No one, probably not even the man himself, knows when Larry Fitzgerald will hang him up. But as another season comes to a close, every Cardinals fan wonders if Sunday could be the final time we see number 11 put it all on the line in front of the Red Sea. Of course, we all hope to see Larry Legend at training camp in 8 months, but for now, the season's final home game is one more opportunity to appreciate Arizona's greatest player of the modern era. Old Fitz and company will have their hands full with the division champs, who will be looking to end a 2-game losing streak. Rams, Cardinals, Game 15 of the 2018 season. Sunday.